host, Daniel Cook, and today I'm interviewing myself. So it's going to be a bit of a funny one, but I just wanted to introduce myself. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit raw. It's going to be a little bit rough because we're just starting out and learning, but that's how you learn. You work it out as you go. And who am I? I'm a 39-year-old male from New South Wales, Australia, and I've got two beautiful girls and a beautiful wife. And yeah, I hopefully get a lot of great guests on the show and have a lot of laughs and a lot of chats and a lot of inspirational stories. I love business and I love family. I love traveling. I love hearing stories about people that overcome, and yeah, it's very inspirational to me, and most of all I love chatting to people. So I sort of done a few things in my life, and hopefully we can get some great guests on and it'll be some great stories to listen to. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Can you share a moment from your life that really shaped you? Maybe something painful, maybe something powerful?
Yeah, look, something about my life, something that shaped me. I think, yeah, I'm ADHD and I'm also dyslexic, so I couldn't read and write through school, and yeah, had a lot of trouble with that. And as a child, it was very painful, and I used to cry myself to sleep sometimes, which sounds really silly as an adult and as a man, but. This day and age, there's so much technology. You can speak into your phone to write an email or, a quote or whatever, or even a text. But, when I was growing up, in the 90s, there wasn't anything like that, obviously. And I think there was a lot of emphasis on, academic and being able to read and write. And yeah, I think for children like myself that, struggled and fell behind, we were just sort of left behind. And not that we didn't have much hope, but I just think the education system didn't know what to do with us. And these days, I don't know what it's like in the school, but I'd hope that there'd be ways and programs to get the kids out and about and doing trades and doing skills and doing other things, because I think it's well documented that people, with dyslexia and ADHD have a lot of skills in other areas and problem solving and overcoming. And really, yeah, I'd like to hope that the education system can harness young guys and girls' strengths instead of, really worrying so much about their weaknesses. But I'm not sure. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll get some teachers or principals on board with the chat and they can let us know what it's like for those children these days. So that'd be great.
What does healing look like for you these days? Is it quiet? Is it messy?
Yeah, healing to me is definitely a journey, it's definitely been a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to learn how to love yourself, and you need to learn how to, just basic human skills like get a job and how to fill out forms or whatever, you know what I mean? It's healing is a big thing, and I'm still very much healing myself. It's a seems to be never-ending journey, but I'm nearly 40 years old now, and only just being able to realize some of my emotions and feelings now. Like, I think, yeah, so processing all that stuff, that all goes in really hand in hand with the ADHD stuff as well. But yeah, I've had a lot of painful things as well in my life, losing my father when I was 25 and different things like that. And I won't go right into all that right now, but yeah, it's definitely a process. Yeah, business and entrepreneurship. Yeah, for me, I guess, how does that fit into my personal journey? I love business. I love property development. I love the different ways that you can make money on. At the moment, I'm studying currency trading. I'm looking into AI, ways of making money. I had a small labor hire business in the past. I also had a demolition business in the past. And I actually had a landscaping business as well. And these are at different times, and some of them were more successful than others, and some of them did well, but some of my personal issues came up and I hadn't overcome a lot of things. So it's all been a real, journey. But yeah, business, I love business, and I love seeing people succeed, and I love, yeah, whether it was a business that was handed to someone by, a family member or passed down, or whether someone, grew it from the ground up. I love hearing the stories, and I love to be inspired by business and success stories. And yeah, it's very inspiring what can be achieved.
What are some things you're still figuring out? Still working through?
Yeah, I'm still sometimes struggling with the drugs and alcohol. Sometimes I go really well and sometimes I don't. And yeah, life is tricky, and I've got a young family and trying to manage with my wife and finances. I've still got a lot of things to overcome. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's about moving forward and progression and one step at a time. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I've created this YouTube channel to be able to chat to people, learn, grow, heal, laugh. And yeah, I think it's going to be exciting.
How do you want people to feel when they listen to the show?
What do I want people to feel when they listen to the show? I want people to feel encouraged. I want people to know that it is possible to change. Yeah. If someone else can do it, then you or I can do it. It's just a matter of working it out and trying and, putting our bum into gear and it's everything is possible. It's just a matter of trying. My old man used to always say to me, you can do anything you put your mind to, you got to do it. That's what I want people to think and feel about the show.
Can you tell us about the kind of guests and topics we can expect here? What's one belief or lesson you're Can you tell us about the kind of guests and topics we can expect here?
Yeah, so as I've probably already mentioned, I really want to get guests in regards to recovery and business and people with an overcoming spirit. Yeah, I'd love to hear stories of, people building up their businesses and people overcoming the demons and, even different people that are doing traveling blogs and yeah, just stuff that's interesting to me, family, fun, travel, healing, business, adventure. That's what I'd like to chat with people about on the show. One belief or lesson I'm carrying with me, right? I think the one belief or lesson that I'm carrying right now is that I can do anything I put my mind to. And, I'm very grateful that my father would always tell me that as a child. And even though this podcast is very rough and very raw to start with, I do believe if I keep improving and get some good guests and, work on editing and all those types of things, I can be successful. So from humble beginnings, great things grow. If I could speak to my younger self, what would you say? Now, that's a interesting question. I was doing some inner child work this morning and my journal, I was speaking to my, 16, 17-year-old and I said, you need a good kick up the arse. You need to realize that you can't always just be partying and, doing all the wrong things. Otherwise, your life will be very tricky as you get older. So, one thing I would say to my younger self or younger viewers is, have fun and enjoy life. And that's all great. But, definitely putting in some hard work and, putting in some dedication because life will be a lot smoother if you put in some of the harder yards when you're younger. So that would be my advice to my younger self.
And finally,
Yeah, the long way around. Basically, my reason for naming the show that was, as I've just mentioned, in my life, I've gone the long way around. I've had ups, I've had downs, I've had many trials, and yeah, I've had to learn the hard way for a lot of things. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's not about how you did it or where you went wrong. It's about the process and the journey and overcoming. And yeah, hopefully we can inspire other people and have some great chats and some laughs. And yeah, let's do it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.